Hi, good morning, everyone. I know this is a post breakfast session, so you might all be a little bit, feeling a little bit of coffee. Uh, but yeah, when we started working on this presentation a couple of days back, one of our marketing guys came up to me and said, "You know what, sir? Uh, it would be a great idea if we started with a meme, just to get everyone's attention back onto the presentation." And I said, "This is one of the most horrible ideas ever I've ever heard. But what can you do? You can't fight your marketing team." So we're starting off with a meme, and today's topic is role of data and AI in personalization, and I wanted to quickly talk about from ground up how from data collection to personalization is achieved, and what is the role. How do we achieve that with Magento or any other e-commerce platform that you're working with? Very quickly, we call ourselves a growth platform for e-commerce. The idea is to grow with the merchants, help them collect that data, help them sync that data, all of that together, whether you are selling on Magento and Amazon, all of that data into a single data warehouse, and ability to drive insights from that data, right? We are a 5-year-old company. We work with a lot, about 300 plus merchants across India and US. Some of our clients are Forest Essential, Fab India, Morphy Richards, Bajaj, Jockey. We are also we provide real-time personalization, but at the end of the day, we are a customer data platform married to a personalization engine. So very quickly, BCG, Boston Consulting Group, said that in the next 5 years, personalization is going to drive about $800 billion in revenue to about 15% of the companies that get it right. Now, the getting it right part is the tricky part, and that's where the most friction comes because assimilation of data and making sense of it between tech, marketing, and the agency partner is primarily one of the most difficult tasks, right? Coordinating between all of these teams. But if you are not in the 15% of these companies, you're going to lose customers, and that's what we keep on telling merchants, that you have to be in those 15% companies that at least get some part of personalization right. Uh, you know One answer to why we're doing this, right? Literally one word answer to all of these questions is, what do I achieve by doing this? Do I get more revenue? How do I do that? It's ROI. It's one simple thing. It's a return on investment because 90% of the people are going to purchase from brands that are more tailored or personalized towards them and their behavior, rather than from a brand who's nobody wants to read an email which says 50% off on 500 brands. I don't care about those 500 brands, right? So like I said, 91% of the consumer buy with more personalized experience. The boost to ROI is about 8x. 8x, when I say for every dollar spent on personalization, typically it leads to about $8 in revenue. That's the ROI that's not been driven by an e-commerce. It's our data that we have generated over working with about 300 plus customers, right? 62% of the consumer expect the companies to now have tailor-made experiences for them. When they come onto the website or they open an email, they expect you to know what they are looking to buy, right? Or what they're they expect merchants to actually tailor-made experience for them, right? So that's what personalization can drive. And 85% marketers agree that their audience segment is way too broad. They're sometimes segmenting audience in a very broad fashion, which is not even relevant to the audience, and it doesn't yield those kind of results that they're marketing. And I'm talking about some really large merchants here that we've had the pleasure of working with. But personalization is a really big word. It's really hyped up. It got hyped up in 2013, actually. 2013-14 was the time when everyone was talking about it. Even today, everyone talks about personalization, but in their own data silo, right? So you have recommendation apps and you have talking about personalization. You have marketing automation apps talking about personalization. You have on-site A/B testing apps that again talks about personalization. So pretty much every single type of SaaS platform has used this word to death. I think you must have heard this word 500 times in last few days alone. So what exactly is personalization and why is it so difficult to achieve? Because while we talk about personalization in a holistic manner, nobody's able to achieve it because they use when they're using different apps to achieve that. All of those apps, while they still work in a silo. They will have their own data collection points, they will have their own result points, and they won't talk to each other. And a simple example is, you must have all heard of Clavio. Have you all heard of a email marketing tool called Clavio? And you must have all heard of a personalization tool called Nosto, which is, unfortunately, Nosto does not talk to Clavio. Once a lot of our merchants come back and say, we have Nosto and we have Clavio, and they don't talk to each other. And this is just one example. No slight on Nosto, brilliant company. I've met the founders, amazing people. Same with Clavio. It's just that they don't talk to each other. So for our merchants, it's difficult because they're using different apps. But that's where the opportunity is today. True holistic personalization is only being used by about 5% of the marketer. So that leaves about 95% of all e-commerce, which is what, about 10 million stores globally. And that's the opportunity we are going to talk about. Unfortunately, when you talk about personalization, your client expectation is this, but their client budget is not up to the mark. They're looking to they're looking to solve a problem, and they're looking for increasing the ROI, but their budget doesn't suit what they're trying to achieve. Right, and that's one of the biggest challenges that we face when we talk to merchants and agency. An agency partner would come to us and say, they want to achieve, they want to have a customer data platform, they want to have analytics, business intelligence, all of that, and their budget is $100 a month. and and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We can't really do a lot about it. So luckily, we understand that. We understand about 65% of the market is still in the small medium space. The entire e-commerce market, it's growing, but still in the small medium space. And that is what we believe is the opportunities, that we've tailored the product down. We've brought the product down to a level where we can, even have, if there is a customer who wants $100 customer data platform, he should be able to have that, right? So we've brought it down to that level, um, and that's the impact of personalization. Typically, if you do it today, in the next 2 to 3 years, 15% of revenue uplift it's going to give you. And typically that's where you will see long term results. When you do personalization holistically, you will see long term results coming in the uplift of revenue from average revenue per customer, right? So that's one of the things. So if you do it, maybe the results are not visible in the first month or the first couple of months, but they will be, and they will result in a long term uplift of your average revenue per customer. So what is personalization in e-commerce? What exactly is data? What exactly are the data are we talking about? We're talking about contextual data, we're talking about behavioral, and we're talking about transactional historical data. So which is, you have to combine all of these three segments into a single data warehouse. We're talking about context, like for example, what device they're using, are they mobile or they're on desktop, what time of the day, what is their location. We're talking about behavioral data, what product they're viewing, what categories they're viewing. And we're also talking about historical data. That means if they have done any purchases earlier, what is their average order value, what is their how many orders per year have they done. All of that data has to be has to combine and present in a single data warehouse where they can access it, look at it, and drive meaningful insights from it. So that this is the problem with data. 60% of the time it works every time. That's what marketers do when they do have incomplete picture of data. When they don't have, when they're not combining data from all different sources, they look at it and they're like, 60% of the time it works every time. So you have to have all of that information available. You cannot work in siloed data. I cannot reiterate it more, but you cannot work on siloed data because it leaves incomplete information, and this is the result. What are the barriers to personalization, achieving personalization? So it's legacy technology. It's the ability to again create a data warehouse where data can be segregated, combined into a single data warehouse. The capabilities of their existing systems. And one of the biggest barriers is when you have to implement systems, external systems into Magento, and create a separate big table, big query, or a big data warehouse where you have to house all of that data and then pull that data out and present it into a data visualization format. That's that is some of the biggest challenges towards personalization. But obviously the biggest is know-how. How do you achieve that exactly? What is the process? Step 1, step 2, step 3. There is no playbook to that, right? People write a lot about personalization, and there are tons of ebooks that I download every day around personalization. But nobody talks about like a playbook to achieve that in a simple, easy to format. That these are the 4 steps. You do it, you're good, right? So typically, when we talk to merchants, what's their approach, right? A few channels connected, no channels are connected. When I say channels, I could be talking about the communication channels. I could be talking about their where they're present as Facebook ads, or they're running email marketing campaigns, or they're running push notification campaigns, all of that. And so about 46% of merchants said that they have few channels connected, which means they're again working on a siloed. I spoke to a merchant and he said, oh, I have a recommendation app, but we still send out emails which to everyone. We still do mass email blast. So it doesn't make sense. If a person is coming onto the website and he's seeing personalized recommendation, he's going to open your email, think that you will have those same recommendation for him in his email, and you don't have that. You still have a very generic email that you've sent it out to everyone, and that's incoherent, and that's bad user experience, right? So that's typically that's how. So again, this is typical typically how it happens in a big organization. A marketer is pointing out to the agency, to the tech is pointing out to the agency, and it's a whole circle, right? Everyone pretty much points fingers at each other, and we've seen that mess. And then you add a tech product into this, and it just goes to the dogs, right? So unfortunately, it's the reality of it. And why? So we have to work with all three stakeholders and present a solution which is easy to use, easy to comprehend, but also is you can easily run it from. It's available to everyone, all three of them. The agency knows it, the marketer knows it, and the tech knows it. And the data has to come from tech. Obviously the agency has to implement it, but it has to be easily readable to the marketer as well, because he's not going to query write queries in your data. It has to be presented in a format which makes sense to the marketer. So what's missing today at personalization is the aggregation of data, the ability to marry transactional and marketing and contextual data, and integrated analytics. And when I say integrated analytics, typical answers that we get from merchants when we talk to them is like, Google does it for me, or I have my transactions lying in my Magento or my Shopify store, or wherever. And I say that that's the problem, that you still have your orders and SKU level data in your CMS, and you have analytics into your analytics platform, but there is no way you're marrying the two, right? So data aggregation is one of the biggest it's missing from the ecosystem, and that's what we're going to talk about later, how we have tried to kind of solve it through our own platform. But yeah, so this is how you build it from ground up. It starts with data collection. Like I said, you collect all of that data, you track behavioral data, you track contextual data, and you track CRM data. You combine all of that, and then you move on to the next level of personalization, which is segmentation. Then you build segments, something like all my high value customers, all my discount shoppers, all my refunders, right? You build those segments based on that data that you have collected, right? People who are interested in a particular format, particular category or product, and who of them are my high value purchasers, right? What is the LTV of a particular segment? What products is a particular segment buying, right? So you create those segments and then you move on to personalization. When you have that data and you have created those segments, then you move into personalize and create journeys for customers to be able to. So it's a step by step process that you achieve. And then finally, obviously, optimization, which is a continuous process. You have to always optimize your campaigns based on results that you're getting. Sometimes you'll get amazing results on certain campaigns, and sometimes it's just it doesn't work. So optimization is a continuous process, but to achieve personalization, these are the few basic steps that every merchant has to do, right? You have to collect that data, present it in a insight in insights driven manner, and then create those segments and then achieve personalization. You cannot reach on the top of the pyramid without doing the basics first. So how Wixo does it is we've created a data warehouse which is built on Google BigQuery and Bigtable, which how ingest data from not only from your CRM but also from your website in real time. We also connect with tools like Google Analytics. We also directly connect with Magento to seep in order data and to seep in SKU product level data. We also connect with marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart, and Walmart, and we connect with ads platform. So not only you get a complete picture of what's happening to your orders, where did this order come from? You ran a banner ad on YouTube. Google is telling you you did amazing, you generated $10,000 in revenue, but what products were sold? What were those products that were sold? You also have now a lot of sale coming from Amazon and Flipkart and all of those marketplaces. What's happening to your inventory? So in three level, we divide this data. The first level is customer data. Customer gets its own profile. Every customer gets what products they're purchasing, what is the frequency, what is the average order value. We also bring in Google Analytics data of that customer and say this customer is has been present on the website 7 times in last 1 month. He was looking at these products. We also add your Facebook and Instagram ads data, which means that Facebook and Instagram, we can actually tell you that what is the cost of goods sold. So if there is a product that's you think that you're doing so well, but you're actually spending a lot on customer acquisition, it should be drilled down to SKU level. So that's essentially what we've created. We've created a data warehouse on GCP, which houses all of that data, which is presentable to marketers in a very simple, easy to read interface that we provide. So while we're talking about data collection, we talk about analytics, and we talk about analytics a lot because what is it that we're doing wrong, why we are not able to comprehend those analytics, and because we have an incomplete picture. We have an incomplete picture, and we don't focus on actionable insights, and so these are some of the things that we're doing. We've seen merchants doing wrong. They're ignoring segments. They're not focusing on meaningful metrics. Meaningful metrics, for example, I go to a merchant and I ask him, do you know your high value shoppers? And he says, yes, I have a list of them. So do you know what's the contribution of your high value shoppers to your overall revenue? And they would not have that insight. They would not have an insight of what products are being purchased by them. So they would not have those insights. So they're not focusing on meaningful matrices that can be derived from those insights, right? And obviously vanity matrices like we all know bounce rates, and we've seen matrices like conversion rates. Conversion rate is a brilliant metric, but it's non-contextual. So you have to look at it from a context. What was the conversion rate of particular segment or SKU, and you have to drill it down. What happened? Why was the conversion rate 6% to a Facebook campaign and 2% to a Google campaign, right? And we talked about data collection and analytics. Now we're talking about segmenting. And segmenting, you have to take a customer centric approach, obviously, and what and who is driving the result, and then act accordingly. And let's have the same example that I was talking about. You look at segment, but you also look at what is the matrices of that particular segment. For instance, we're looking at 7 days, unique users, revenue impact, average revenue per customer, but we also look at average order value and LTV. This is a screenshot from one of our platform, and you can see that while those are some of the predefined segments that we create out of your data, we also tell you what is the number of customers, what is the orders that they did, what was the revenue, what was the average order value, and what was the LTV as well. So you get a fair sense of how you were able to we've already created these segments inside the dashboard. They don't even have to lift a finger, and they can actually use these segments as an actionable, so they can not only use this segment, but they can actually export it to any of their email marketing platforms, or any of their, even to Facebook, for example. Now imagine you want to run campaigns on small ticket spenders. You have some sale which is coming up, and you only want to target small ticket spenders. Not only we will tell you the segment, but we'll also tell you inside the dashboard what were the products that were purchased. So while you're devising a campaign for these small spenders, you can actually send this data to Facebook, create a lookalike audience, run ads on that audience, and use that data to actually put product pictures that make sense to this segment of customers, right? So that's how you can utilize. So these are actionable. You can use this data, and it will give you those insights that I've been talking about. So some of the persona based segments that we have created: product focused shoppers, browsers, researchers, bargain hunters, one time shoppers, and we have created more than 50 plus predefined segments into our dashboard for e-commerce, so they don't have to lift a finger or run a query. All of this is done for them while it's there. Like I said, they won't be pointing fingers at tech, at at marketer and agency, because it's all done for them. It's available for a marketer's use, so he can literally export it to any of the platform that he wants to run the particular campaign on, or Facebook ads. And we've created segments in 50. We've created 50 plus predefined segments, and some of the examples are persona based segments. Right. So some of the advanced way that we group customers is revenue impact, like I showed you, engagement or actions taken, visitor with past conversions versus no conversions, with cart abandonments, with intents. So these are some of the ways that we look at a segment in an actionable way, how to define or run a particular segment of customers, and how they're what type of what do you want to do with that segment. Based on all of that, we use this matrices to kind of define our segments that we've created. So now we move on from, we've done data collection, we've done the personalization bit. Now we move on to we've done data collection and segmentation. We now move on to personalization. So that's the third step into the pyramid. And again, effective one-to-one personalization is only possible if you do the first two steps right. Collect your data, segment your data customers. So if you have the right data and you know your audience better now, because you've done your segmentation, so now you know which your most valuable segments are, where you're spending least amount of money but getting the most on conversion, right? So now you can do effective personalization by whichever apps that you're using, or through but we provide you with that data for you to do that effective personalization. And that's something that obviously the benefits, I don't have to, already did a meme where Tom Cruise was like, you had made ROI. So I don't have to really tell you the benefits of personalization. I think we all know it's better user experience, it's more sales, more conversions, and obviously it keeps on bringing the customer back, because he knows that what his likes and dislikes are, and obviously that can impact your revenue in positive and obviously when a customer knows that and you've tailored the experience to the customer centric approach, the customer will keep on coming back to you. It will increase the LTV of that customer. What we've seen is not only immediate revenue impact of personalization, but overall in a period of 3 to 4 months or a year, we've also seen a massive increase in lifetime value of the customer. And that is one of the biggest benefits of personalization that that we have again. Now that we have done segmentation, and I'm now kind of contradicting my own slide, but segmentation is not personalization. You segment your customer to know, group your customer in a format that makes sense for you. But segmentation is not personalization. Segmentation is when you group your customers, you drive insights and analytics from it. But personalization is more one is to one. It's more about tailoring the experiences of each user, so that you can actually, we call it the segment of one. So every customer is a segment, and that's when you achieve personalization. Some of the demographic, and every customer should get a personalized this thing: age, gender, income, interest group, intent, and behavioral data, right? So each customer, and that's a very that's not me, with some unfortunately, not, we wanted like a more handsome model for that, but we work with whatever we've got. um, but yes, that's how we typically build a customer profile, right, based on the demographics, interest, intent, and behavioral data. This is a typical customer page that we have. Not only you can see the customer name, location, and country, you can see what is the total spend that they've done. You can see the average order value of that customer. You can see what is the frequency of orders per year, and you can see total number of orders. On this side, we have a customer timeline, which is really useful. When you look at each customer data, it actually tells you where the customer actually came from on your website for the first time. So we track that as well. So first time, maybe he came from CPC on Google, right? And then he registered with you, and then he purchased one item, two item, three items, or four items, right? So this typical customer profile. We also do customer status. Based on the lapse point, we can actually tell you whether customer's active, or at risk, or lost. And then now this is a customer profile that we've created, like I said, based on contextual and behavioral and his historical transactional data. Now we've also added a section here which says suggested products for the customer. How are we able to do it? The suggested products, because we have all, like I said, the data collection and segmentation. You get those right, you get this right, you move on to the third stage, which is the personalization. So not only do our customers get their individual pages, our products also. So we've not only grouped customers into different segments, we've also grouped SKUs or products into different segments. Like for example, you can group based on the revenue that a particular product has done. You can look at the quantity sold, amount refunded, cost of goods sold. All of that data is available. And some of the segments that we have created for products are fast moving products or high value products, things like that. So all of that data again is available on a product SKU level as well. And this is a typical product page. We can actually see the sales that a particular product has done, gross profit if you have cost of goods sold in your CMS in Magento. We directly pick that data from here. What is the inventory like? What is the refund? The best part is this inventory, we're not only talking about what is available in Magento, but if you've connected your Amazon store, we are able to pick up orders and inventory from Amazon as well, so that all of that data is synced into a single data warehouse. You have sales, inventory, refunds, all of that, and then variant performance. So how variants are performing, who are your customers, the individual products also gets this pages. That's it. Thank you for your interest, guys. Really appreciate